Good morning and namaste to all of you. Let's start our Wednesday class with some prayers. Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Om Bhu Bhuvasvaha Tatsavitra Varenayam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Diyo Yo Naha Prachodayat Asto Ma Satgamya Tamso Ma Jyotirgamya Mrityurma Amritam Gamya Om Sehna Vavatu Sehna Bhunaktu Sehviryam Karvavahi Tejasvi Navadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahi Om Shanti 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 Om. Today's topic is about mind. I know we have talked about mind quite a bit, but there's never enough we can talk about mind. Let me start out by saying that mind is responsible for creating an attitude. We all know we all have attitudes. So mind creates the attitude. And mind is also responsible for creating our identity. My opinion, identity is even more important than attitude. Constant thinking results into attitude. And years of attitude results in an identity. Let me repeat it again. Constant thinking, and we think with the mind, right? Mind is nothing but a flow of thoughts. So constant thinking results in an attitude, and years of attitude results in an identity. So that's why it's commonly said that health of the mind is more important because it determines the health of your identity. So healthy mind, healthy identity. Sattvic mind, sattvic identity. Saintly mind, saintly identity. And on the other hand, a demonic mind, demonic identity. And your mind and attitude is your personal belonging. Nobody can copy it. Nobody can steal it because it is so subtle. Let me give you a little example over here. I'm sure you're all familiar with Charlie Chaplin. One time he was in a town, small town, and they were having a Charlie Chaplin look-alike competition. Since nobody knew him there personally, he just thought that let me enter into that competition. Guess what? In that competition, he himself came 7. So others can copy his, the way he dresses, the way he talks, because he was a comedian. So in his own memoirs, he wrote, when I came number 7, I was surprised. We live in a world where showmen succeed and real men fail. For a few minutes, even I was confused whether I was a real Charlie Chaplin or 6 men before me. Then I realized though they can match my looks and my moves, none of them can match my mind and my attitude. Your mind and attitude is your own, your personal belongings. He says, I am the real Charlie Chaplin, more than my appearance or my actions. My mind and my attitude give me identity and health of our mind. It is so important. Health of your mind gives you health and the identity. So these are the words of that great comedian. So looking at that, we can say that we can, with a constant positive thinking, we can create a positive attitude. And with a positive attitude, we can make a positive identity. So that's why health of the mind is so important. Healthy mind will give you a healthy identity. We all know that if we need a surgery, and if we find out that surgeon had a death in the family, we know that has affected the mind. No matter what kind of education, what kind of a position that surgeon has, or what kind of a name and fame, will be worried to have a surgery done by that person that day. Nothing is more important in this world than the health of our mind and the stability of our mind. That's why when we say the self-conquest is greatest of all conquest, that we got to have our mind in our control. That's a self-conquest. A person's attitude can be more powerful than a whole army. Our scriptures, they say, Manaiv Manushyanam Karnam Bandh Moksha. Your mind can create limitations for you, and the same mind can break the limitations also, break all the bondages, and give you ultimate freedom. This is the secret our scriptures, the Hindu scriptures, have given us. We see the world through our mind. A dirty mind will see this world dirty. A beautiful mind will see this world beautiful. When Duryodhan was asked, what is this world like? His answer was, there was not a single person in this world who is not bad. And when Yudhishthir was asked the same question, he said, there's not a single person in this world who is not good. Because he was good. His mind was good. So through their own minds, they were looking at the world. So that's why instead of complaining, try to accommodate, adjust, create a world you can progress in. This body is an equipment, mind is also an equipment. You got to use this to create a beautiful world. Attitude and emotions can affect your brain environment. The way we think, our brain cells also change. There have been experiments done. They say that there was a prisoner who was afraid of snakes. So in his prison cell, the sounds of a snake were produced. Not a real snake, just a sounds. Then he was pricked with a needle. He died. Just with a prick of a needle. Autopsy results showed that some toxins in his body, which were like snake bite, even though there was no snake. Body is such an amazing instrument. Your mind is not just manufacturing the unhappiness, it can go further and create such miseries as well. That is the power of mind. It can make you sick and it can make you healthy also. Power of mind. Since we have been born, sure, we all know that we have been breathing, but another thing we've been doing is thinking. We got to learn, think positively. Because attitudes are the products of our thoughts. If you change the way you think, you will change the attitude you have. We live in a free world. We often hear that. This is the freedom we have. We have the freedom to think differently. We don't have freedom in a lot of other areas. Did we choose our mothers and the fathers? Did we choose the color of the skin? Did we choose our birth date? And most of us didn't even choose our names. But still we love our parents. We love our name. We celebrate our birth date. Those are the things we did not choose. Brothers, sisters, we did not choose. In fact, our diseases we don't choose. We cannot choose the country we were born in. Only thing we can choose is the way we look at the world. So that means the attitude we can choose. That means we can program our own mind. There are 3 steps in programming our mind. If you're part of this ashram, every birthday, we take this little vow. The first vow is, अपने दोषों को दूर करूंगी. That means I'll get rid of all the flaws in me, or at least work on one of the flaws. That's how we empty our mind of the negativities, of our negative emotions. Sure, it's hard. It's not easy to let go of the old attitude, the negative attitude. Even the physical things, very hard to throw away. So that means we cannot empty our homes. How can we empty our emotions? But we got to realize that our negative emotions are destroying our world. It's almost like, think about it, if there's a dead mouse in the house, we throw it out right away. But we keep 10 years old hatred stay in our mind. Get rid of it. Hate destroys the hater more than the hated. Remember that. It's worse than a dead mouse. Negative emotions possess you. That's why Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita said, empty your mind from this cowardice, wrong thinking. Oh, Arjun, this will destroy you. One negative emotion can destroy us. We got to look at it, how many negative emotions we have, or negative attitude we have, or negative thinking we have. Get rid of it. Consciously get rid of it. This is what we need to work on. First, identify it, then get rid of it. That is the very first step. The second step is, mind cannot stay empty. If we have taken something out, the second pledge we make on our birthdays, शुभ गुणों को अपनाऊंगा. So that means I'll fill my mind with the positivity, with a positive emotion. One of the positive emotion is how many people I can love, how many people I can forgive. These days, the concept is how many people love me, how many likes I get on my Facebook pictures. We are being dependent on others to fill us up. Your happiness, the real happiness depends upon how many you can love. Seriously, think about it. You can have 1,000 friends on your Facebook list. Is that real friendship? Our scriptures, they say, this is from the Vedas, mitrasya chakshusha pashyamaha. Oh Lord, let me see as everyone as my friend. If I see everybody as my friend, then my attitude is changing. Then I'm not being dependent on others. I'm filling myself with a friendly thought. You are more comfortable when you see everyone as a friend. If 500 people know me, it's not comfortable. But if I know 20, that is very comfortable. That's how this equation goes. So when there's nothing negative in you, that will make you comfortable. So change the way you talk to people, because we talk to our friends differently. Change the way. How can I help? Because to a friend, you will help. What can I give? How can I bring a smile on somebody's face? If you change, others change too. Be the first to smile. Make the first move. Say sorry first. Become the partner in the progress of your partner. Whether it's your husband, wife, child, friend, anybody you feel close to. Or when you go out on the road, don't allow the traffic light to control your mood. That's how you fill your mind with the positivity. Get the negative out and fill with positive. And it is a beautiful process. It's your own process. It's almost like a law of displacement. Just like a glass of water, you empty it. What comes in it? The air. And when you call it empty, you fill it up with something, you are displacing it. So only way you can get rid of negative emotions by filling out with positive. This is the only way. Only way. Otherwise, empty mind, we all know what does it do. Creates a havoc in our lives. See, just like how do we get rid of the darkness? Bring the light in. Right? That's the only way to get rid of the darkness. I mean, night is dark, sun shines and it's light automatically. So when you smile, that is positive, you cannot frown. Try doing both things. You can't. It's not possible. So beyond positive and negative, Guruji mentions there's a third step also. In Hindi, he says, apni bhakti ko drid karunga. That means you need a spiritual attitude. You need to bring spirituality, the devotion in your life also. And this is beyond negative and the positive. Because you're emptying it, you are filling it, but then you're fulfilling it. So that is the third step. Only spirituality can fulfill it. The deep spaces of your mind and even your heart that takes you beyond positive and negative, that is spirituality. If you're not spiritually fulfilled, your attitude will shift according to your self. Okay, that really means like a selfish interest. If it has happened to be positive, sure, you'll think positive. If it's negative, it will be negative. But you want to go beyond that. I have given you this example many times before. There was a great orator talking about Ramayana, about Ram and Ravan both. He talked about all the qualities of Ram and all the qualities of the negative qualities of Ravan also. And even there were some positive qualities of Ravan too. He was a great warrior. Selfish, but great. At the end, he said, I am going to have 2 statues for everybody to choose from. Ram's statue and the Ravan statue. Which one would you like to have? He said, who will like to have Ravan's statue? Nobody raised their hand because they knew Ravan is not a positive person. Then he said, who would like to have when they leave the Ram's statue? Everybody raised their hand. But then he said, I forgot to tell you something. Ram's statue is made out of wood and Ravan's statue is made out of gold. Now, which one would you have? See, this is the self-interest or the selfish interest. Are you looking at the Ram statue for his qualities? Are you looking at the Ram statue? What is it made up of? So that's a selfishness. We got to see our mind. Is it full of that kind of a selfishness? Human mind is such a tricky thing. We just, our own children's negative qualities, they look very positive to us. And somebody else is positive, we always look for something negative in it. That is a selfish mind. With a spiritual attitude, the third step on this progress, you will go beyond selfishness and self-interest. You will transcend this negative and the positive. And what is needed? Prayer is needed. The devotion is needed for this kind of a health of the mind. Prayer will stop you from going into depression and arrogance. It will keep you humble. It will make you a good human. And that's why Guruji said that get rid of the negative, add the positive, and cultivate the bhakti for God. Without that, you will not reach to this level. Otherwise, our approach is always material. Just like those statues, material approach, we don't mind getting a Ravan's statue because it's made out of gold. It's a material attitude. But if we had the devotional attitude, it doesn't matter what it is made up of. I want Ram and Ram only. Going back to the story of Ram and Ravan, when Lord Ram was sent to to Ayodhya, from Ayodhya to the Vanvas for 14 years, if his approach was material, he would have said, I want to fight for my right. I will confront. I will attack. I will show others how strong I am. He did not choose that. He chose the spiritual attitude. See, when we worship Lord Ram, when we worship these gurus, we got to look at it. What is their approach? What is their attitude towards life? So his approach was his duty. That's a spiritual attitude. Respect for the elders. Even respect for that Mother Kakai. He absorbed the situation, accepted the situation. That is a spiritual attitude. Then he overcame everything with that kind of a mind. We all know ultimately when he went to the forest, he carried the whole Ayodhya with him. Those 14 years, we don't know what happened in Ayodhya, but we know what happened in the forest because he had this spiritual attitude. Untouched by any complaint or any injustice. If we keep on complaining, why is it happening to me? We don't have a spiritual attitude. If we think that, no, it's not fair, life is not fair, we don't have a spiritual attitude because we are not accepting what's happening. To make sure that you are happy, you need to rise above everything. Everything won't be according to your liking all the time. When we think about these spiritual giants, whether it's your own guru or whether it's a God incarnate or any rishi, they transform you. Because you are putting those thoughts into your mind. That's why I was saying that attitudes are stronger than steel. But the old attitudes, the negative attitudes, you can still change them with your power. You can change the world the way you look at it, even if you cannot change the world. So we must understand the need of a healthy mind. These are not just words. Healthy mind. Do we really believe that healthy mind is more important than a healthy body? If we believe in it, what are we doing about it? Are we following these kind of steps or some kind of a program? Unless we believe in this, nothing I'm saying will have effect. We have all kinds of things we do for our body. People go to the gym, they walk, they work out, they eat healthy. They do all kinds of things for the body. Even the thin layer of the skin, people pay so much attention to, let alone the inner organs. Inner organs, when they become bad, only then we do. But that is a physical body. Have we gotten a system which monitors, nourishes, and evaluates the mind? How many times we think, sit back and write down the health of our minds? If we have not done it, that means our focus is not on the mind at all. Look at the world. For the physical body, we have more than 50 different professions. You all know that. For the mind, just do psychology and psychiatry. So society is not paying much attention to the mind either. Because our society does not believe in having a healthy mind, only a healthy body. And why is that? Think about it. Because body is visible, it's physical. The mind is invisible and subtle. But think about it. As a philosopher, that sometimes in life, things invisible are more important than the visible. Beautiful building is visible. Foundation is invisible. But you think the building will stand erect without a good foundation? I don't think so. Invisible air is more important than visible food and water we eat and drink. We all know that, and especially during COVID, we found that out. Or whenever we have a hard time breathing, we know that what is more important. The world of the mind, the health of the mind is totally invisible. Or even the outside planets. Planets and solar system is visible. We cannot see the gravity, but we know that gravity is the one which is keeping everything in order. Or we can look at the creation and the creator. Creation is visible, but creator we don't see. But what is more important? So sometimes invisible things are more important than visible. Do not insist on making God visible. Accept him. Even the science is founded on the concept which are invisible. For example, what are numbers? Have you ever seen 1 or 9? Nobody has seen these numbers. These are the concepts in the mind. Or how about divisions and additions? These are all concepts which are invisible. So even science believes in the concepts which are invisible. Think about it. How do these buildings stand erect? How do these bridges stay stable? How do the planes fly? All the calculations are made in numbers, which are invisible. So world of the mind depends upon the concepts which are totally invisible. So that's why, let me repeat it again, things invisible are more powerful than the things visible. Now let's move on to the emotions. Have you ever seen love, fear, sorrow, joy? We can feel them, but we have never seen them. So the concepts of emotion is invisible. Even the values, the world of mind founded upon the values, like a truth, satyam, that's also invisible. Did Mahatma Gandhi, did he see the truth? You cannot see it. So just as emotions are invisible, but they have the power to drive your mind. Just as the values are invisible, they have the power to drive humanity. Just as the concepts of philosophy and faith are invisible, they have the power to change the entire mankind. Indian system even thousands and thousands of years ago, they understood this, the power of the mind. Our saints, our seers in the Upanishads, great writings of our great historians, it is very clearly explained what the mind is. And even some Western philosophers, they understood how deep thinkers they were. Even the Plato said, it is Indian who is the forerunner, the champion in the field of mind. That's how important it is for us to take care of this mind. Because otherwise, I have read that even the best psychologists, the modern psychologists, when they talk about the mind, they say it is like a blind man in a dark room looking for a black cat, which is not there. They say looking for something you don't know, totally invisible. Why talk about it that much? Why waste time? But the Indian wisdom is miles ahead of them, miles. That's why we sit down and study our Upanishads, our great scriptures, because very clearly they have defined this mind according to the 4 functions. So according to the function, they have divided it, not today, not 100 years ago, thousands and thousands of years ago. They called it a subtle body, Suksham Sharir. We all know Man, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankar, and we need to take care of each one of them. We all know when we say Man, that really means we are thinking. Mind is the one which is thinking, which gives us inspiration if we positively think. We know what Buddhi is. Power to select, power to discriminate, power to know whether I'm doing something right or I'm doing something wrong. Should I do this or should I not do this? That is a Buddhi in me. Then the Chit, with the help of the Chit, we contemplate. Because we can contemplate only when there's some memory, and memory is in the Chit. So contemplation, visualization, that all comes from Chit. When I ask you to do Yog Nidra, you cannot do Yog Nidra without the Chit. You got to know that where that energy is moving or what the energy is. And who gave us all this knowledge? Our seers thousands of years ago. And then they also talked about the Ahankar. Man, Buddhi, Chit, Ahankar. Ahankar is identification. What do I identify myself with? Do I just identify myself with this body? And then with my corrupted mind, do I just start thinking that my body is better than others? And don't even mind killing an animal body to feed my human body? Our Rishi said, think about it. Think about the whole system, not just one little part of it. So that's why I would like to say that the real practice, the spiritual practice, the yogic practices is purifying the mind. Purifying the mind to the level where it becomes so pure, there's no difference between me and the God. And that's what yoga is. That is a yoga yukta, or a yogic way of living. But unless we get rid of the negativity and pour the positivity and understand the spirituality, these are just only the words. So we need to do sadhana for all of it. So that's why I just wanted to go through some of these very basic terms with you, with some examples, so that you understand deep implication of this mind of ours. Let's stop it here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Om. Thank you very much.